Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astottara Sata Shri Srimat His Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nanta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet, Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We continue reading from Srila Prabhupada's lilamrta, Srila Prabhupada lilamrta, volume 4, chapter 2, London, a dream fulfilled. We continue reading from this section. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurul Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tham Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Satadevi Pranamami Hari Priye. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatadashatharini Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pabinebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, London, a dream fulfilled. So we continue reading. One night lectures in scattered places around the city proved further the need of a temple. Prabhupada had experienced a similar situation in New York City in 1965. At that time, he also had no temple. His audiences would listen respectfully and then disperse, and he would never see them again. To become Krishna conscious, however, a person needed to hear about Krishna repeatedly, and for that a temple is required. Once Prabhupada had his temple established in London, thousands would be able to come and hear about Krishna, take prasadam, and appreciate the lovely deity form of the Lord. A temple would provide guests with regular intimate contact with the devotees of the Lord, and this was essential. In the absence of a temple, however, Prabhupada was prepared to go on lecturing all over London. Krishna's teachings, Krishna's kirtan, and Krishna's prasadam were absolute good. They would act regardless of the external situation. Conway Hall was a 500-seat auditorium in Red Lion Square in central London. By arranging a series of 12 lectures over the next 3 months, the devotees hoped to oblige Prabhupada to stay in England at least that long. Guru Das had drawn up a list of lecture titles and printed 50,000 handbills. Admission would be 2 shillings and 6 pence. The first night at Conway Hall, about 100 people attended. Prabhupada sat on a cushion atop a table leading kirtan, while his disciples sat on the floor. Prabhupada played harmonium and Mukunda and Kulekshekhar played mridangas. Prabhupada's Radha Krishna deities stood on the altar on a separate table beside Prabhupada. A Hare Krishna mantra banner hung against the back wall. Guru Das had built tonight's lecture, The Teachings of the Vedas, and Prabhupada explained that Vedic teachings can be understood only from hearing from self-realized saints. After Prabhupada's lecture, the audience gave a sustained round of applause. Prabhupada answered questions and had Yamuna lead a final kirtan. The next day, Prabhupada wrote to a Dr. Shyam Sundar Das Brahmachari in India, quote, I spoke for about 1 hour, and after that they continued clapping, which confirms their appreciation, unquote. So this is a famous lecture, The Teachings of the Vedas, and it's put into, I think, the book, the Sri Aishopanishad, as the introduction. It's a very nice lecture by Srila Prabhupada. We continue reading. At the second Conway Hall engagement, when Prabhupada stood during the kirtan and began to dance, the devotees on stage joined him, dancing in a circle. Ishana played his trumpet, and even Saraswati, her diapers showing beneath her short dress, jumped up and down in ecstasy. Each week would bring another Conway meeting, and Prabhupada's dancing became a regular feature. One night at Conway, an Englishman stood and asked, "Why is it that you don't try to help the people of your own country? Why did you come so far? Why don't you simply approach the big politicians? They are big politicians, to try to help there." Prabhupada, you are a great politician, therefore I am approaching you. Is that all right? Another man asked, if this is the absolute truth, how come there's how come there's so many people in London, but not so many people are in attendance here? Prabhupada, when you are selling diamonds, you don't expect many customers. But if you are giving cut glass, the fools will come. We have a very precious thing, this Krishna consciousness movement. Don't expect that all the foolish people will take to it. Some sincere souls have come. You please also take it. Prabhupada felt encouraged by the response of the English. Regularly, the audiences would join in the chanting and dancing. In London, things were going on nicely. And last evening, we had a meeting in Conway Hall, and several hundred persons are joining in the chanting and dancing. After the meeting, one reporter from the biggest London newspaper came behind the stage to get further information about our movement for publication in his paper. So I am very encouraged to see the nice reception that the people and the news medias are giving to our activities in London. Late in October, Prabhupada spoke at the English Speakers Union to a predominantly Indian audience. He began his talk. Although we are a very small gathering today, this is a very important meeting. India has got a message. You are all respectable Indians present here in an important city of the world, London, and I have come here with an important mission. It is not the same mission as Indians generally have who come here and go to other foreign countries to beg. I have come here to give something. So you please try to cooperate with me. On October 30th, Prabhupada lectured at Oxford Town Hall. His talk was basic, although embellished with more Sanskrit quotes than usual. His disciples had not expected much of a response from the Oxford students, yet the hall was filled. And when Prabhupada stood and gestured for everyone to raise their hands and dance, practically the entire audience responded. While Mukunda played the huge pipe organ and hundreds joined the chanting, Prabhupada held his arms high and began powerfully jumping up and down. So in this little section, we can just observe how Prabhupada dealt with two different audiences. The first was like a mainly Indian community, and he asked for their cooperation. And as Krishna appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made the comment or a request that those who have taken birth in the land of India, Bharatvarsha, it is their duty to spread the Krishna consciousness movement. So therefore Prabhupada was asking them, so you please try to cooperate with me. This was to the Indian audience. And then when he was preaching to the students, and mainly the Western audience, he made them to sing and dance. See, you can see how how he would preach. And he was expert. So it was wonderful. Prabhupada states, yesterday we had a very successful meeting at Oxford Town Hall. About 350 boys and girls, old men, ladies, gentlemen participated, and we made them all dance and chant with us. Everyone. After the meeting, many boys and gentlemen came to congratulate me. Prabhupada received an invitation to appear on Britain's most popular TV talk show, Late Night Line-Up. The interview, accustomed to snappy repartee, tried to engage Prabhupada in his style of conversing, avoiding long philosophical answers. Swamiji, he asked, why do you have a concept of hell? Still at a loss of words. And Prabhupada, perhaps sensing the man's embarrassment, added, of course, it is a very great credit to the English people to have established such a great civilization in such a climate. There were other questions, and Prabhupada talked for an hour explaining the Krishna consciousness movement and philosophy. The next day, a London newspaper announced, Swami Ji calls London hell. So we continue. The Hare Krishna mantra record was still high on the charts in England and throughout the continent. And this fame led to a Dutch television company to invite Prabhupada's disciples to Amsterdam. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Gaur Hari ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Hare Krishna mantra record was still high on the charts in England and throughout the continent, and this fame led to a Dutch television company to invite Prabhupada's disciples to Amsterdam, all expenses paid, to do a show. They would have only 5 minutes of air time, but Prabhupada accepted it. 5 minutes, he said, is sufficient. We will preach the whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness in 5 minutes. Prabhupada and his party took the ferry from Dover across to the English Channel to France and then traveled by train to Amsterdam. The television studio located outside the city was in a modern air-conditioned building with constant loudspeaker announcements, artificial plants, a TV in every room, but no windows. The receptionist brought Prabhupada and his disciples to a windowless room with painted concrete walls. In India, Prabhupada said, we would consider living in a place without windows. We wouldn't consider living in a place without windows and fresh air. I want to sit by a window. So the devotees checked through the entire building until finally on the 3rd floor hallway they found a window. Moving their chairs with them, they went with Prabhupada and sat by the window. By the year 2000, no one will see the day of light, Prabhupada said. Cities will be forced to live underground. They will have artificial light and food, but no sunlight. The producer of the program arrived, surprised to find that the Swami was going to be part of the act. The surprise was a pleasant one, and he welcomed Prabhupada to his show. Now, what I want you and your group to do, he explained, is to sing your record, Hare Krishna mantra. You don't have to actually sing out loud. We are going to play our record and you mime. Pretend you are playing those instruments. Pretend you are singing. He allowed that afterward Prabhupada could speak for 2 minutes. Just before Prabhupada and the devotees went on stage, they had to wait in the wings while a local Dutch group danced around, pretending to play their saxophones, trumpets and drums. Then the producer brought in a table with a cushion on it for Prabhupada and seated the devotees around Prabhupada on the floor. The cameras began, the record played, and the devotees started to mime. Suddenly clouds produced by dry ice rolled in on the set, a mystical effect. As the devotees disappeared under the clouds of carbon dioxide, only Prabhupada remained clearly visible. Seeing the special effect unsuccessful, the producer motioned the devotees to stand and dance beside the swan. You'll realize your true nature, that you are eternal servant of God. This process is called Bhakti Yoga, and we request everyone to take this chanting. Thank you very much. Prabhupada's 2 minutes. Prabhupada is saying, if you simply chant this sublime sound, your life will become perfect. You'll become happy. You will realize your true self, your true nature, and that you're an eternal servant of Krishna, O God. This process is called Bhakti Yoga, and we request everyone to take this chanting. 2 minutes preaching. So that is the essence, how to perfect our life. Prabhupada was pleased as his disciples' record continued to be a hit in Europe. Prabhupada states, the Hare Krishna record is selling very nicely. Yesterday it sold 5,000 copies, and this week it is on the chronological list as number 20. They say next week it will come to number 3, and after that it may come to number 1. So, and they are very much hopeful of this record. To Satswarup in Boston, Prabhupada wrote, the Hare Krishna record is going on in England nicely, and I heard that in Australia it stands at 4th on the list of 50 important records. So that Prabhupada didn't have understanding of the top of the charts and top 10. And he says, the list of 50 important records. I think we grow up listening to the radio, and we'll have this top 10, top 20 and all these things. Continue. Hare Krishna mantra became the number 1 song in West Germany, number 1 in Czechoslovakia, and among the top 10 all over Europe and even in Japan. This is amazing record, because a few times I've heard or watched the YouTube videos on memories of Prabhupada, and some devotees mentioned that they would hear this song, and they would hear the song by George Harrison, My Sweet Lord. And that's how they became attracted to Krishna consciousness, or the Maha Mantra. So how wonderful this preaching was, even in Japan. With the income from the record, the devotees began paying their bills and financing the renovations of the Berry Place temple. Sometimes the devotees would perform at concerts with professional groups, and sometimes they would receive invitations to appear in nightclubs. So Berry Place is also a very nice place. It's a place of pilgrimage if you visit London. And as we've read, when Prabhupada first came to London, he didn't have a place to stay. So he was very fortunate that he lived with John Lennon and his wife Yoko Ono at their estate, place called Tittenhurst. And during this time, while Prabhupada stayed there, they found this place, Berry Place, which is in central London. It's near the British Museum. When I visited, then I took a walk, and we asked the devotees how to get there from our temple in Soho Street. So you walk down, you go to Bloomsbury, and you go up the road. It's like narrow roads, like similar to India. And you'll pass the British Museum, and then you'll see this place, Berry Place. So this is what is being spoken of here, that they were using the money they got from the sale of the records to carry out renovations to this place, Berry Place. At one particular Sometimes the devotees would perform at concerts with professional groups, and sometimes they would receive invitations to appear in nightclubs. After one particular late and nasty nightclub engagement, Yamuna went to Prabhupada and told him that the place had been, like Prabhupada would call, Yamuna went to Prabhupada and told him what the place had been like. Prabhupada called for all the devotees. These places, he explained, are not good for brahmacharis. The principle is that we have to make devotees. So we have to think where we are going. If we are going somewhere to preach, but we can't make any devotees there, what is the use? So we have to think like that. He said he wasn't forbidding them to preach in the nightclubs, but he told them to be careful. One of the devotees asked if showing slides of Krishna mixed with psychedelic slides was permissible. Prabhupada said no. Krishna should be on a throne or on an altar. If they watered Krishna consciousness down, it would become idol worship. So, continue. Not since Prabhupada had first left India in 1965 had he preached to Indians as extensively as now. Indians would always attend his lectures, and even if they didn't dance and chant, they appreciated Krishna consciousness. Even before Prabhupada's arrival in England, a few Indians had stepped forward to help the devotees. And now the majority of Prabhupada's occasional guests at Tittenhurst were Indians. Bringing their families, they would sit and chat with Prabhupada, often inviting him to their homes for dinner. Kedarnath Gupta says, Prabhupada agreed to come to our house. We received him with a warm welcome, and many other people also came to hear him. He was very much pleased to see that we had our family deities of Radha and Krishna given by my mother. He commented, I am very much pleased to come to this place and see Radha and Krishna are here. He gave a very nice lecture and told that the purpose of the human form of life is self-realization. He said that one should be inquisitive to know who he is. All those assembled who had come to hear him were very much pleased and impressed by his lecture. After this lecture, he did the arti and we offered the foodstuffs to the deity. And then we distributed prasadam to everyone. Prabhupada took the prasadam and he was very much pleased to take prasadam in our house. As he was leaving, I requested him, when can I see you next? He said, you can see me at any time you want. Sometimes there would be disagreements over philosophy, but Prabhupada's arguments were always convincing. The Indians were respectful to Prabhupada and repeatedly invited him to their homes. One of Britain's most prominent and respected Indians visited, Praful Patel, as did many businessmen with the means of helping Prabhupada's mission. But few were willing to sacrifice. On the second moon landing by American astronauts was scheduled for mid-November, only a few days away. For months the moon shots had received much press coverage, and Prabhupada would speak of them often. Almost a year ago in Los Angeles, he had answered a reporter's queries on the possibility of man landing on the moon. Just like we are going from one place to another by motor car or by airplane, this mechanical process will not help us to go to the moon planet. The process is different, as described in the Vedic literature. One has to qualify. According to our literature, our information, it is not possible. In this body, we cannot go there. At Titanus, Prabhupada often brought up the moon landing while talking with his disciples. The moon landing was a hoax, he said one evening in his room, for they cannot go to the moon. The moon planet, Chandra Loka, is a residence of the demigods, higher beings than these drunkards and low cow-eating slaughterers who are trying to inhabit it. You cannot think this travel is allowed. Like when I migrated from India to the US, the moon planet cannot be visited so quickly. It is not possible. Srila Prabhupada's disciples accepted this statement. He was giving not simply his opinion, but the Vedic of the Vedic scriptures. Because he accepted Vedic authority over modern science, so did his disciples, but not Purushottama. Purushottama is a disciple of Prabhupada. Detecting Purushottama's dubious mentality, Prabhupada would often joke lightly at Purushottama's presence. Someone would ask a question, "Where is Janaki?" And Prabhupada would reply, "Oh, Janaki has gone to the moon." Then everyone except Purushottama would laugh. The devotees knew of Purushottama's difficulty. He was an American and proud that the Americans were conquering space, and they knew that Prabhupada was joking about it. Purushottama was up on the latest scientific advancements. He was impressed by NASA's achievements and astronaut Neil Armstrong's giant step for mankind. Although Purushottama went on with his duties, he became sullen, and Prabhupada noted his lack of enthusiasm. One morning, Purushottama and Yamuna were together with Prabhupada in his room. Purushottama had several days' growth of beard and was wearing the same orange sweater he had slept in, whereas Yamuna was neat and clean. Although she had only two simple cotton saris, she would always put on a freshly washed and ironed one before going to see Prabhupada. Looking at his two servants, Prabhupada said, "Yamuna, you have so many saris. They are all so beautiful." Yamuna looked up at Prabhupada in surprise. I don't have so many, Srila Prabhupada." "No," he said, "you are wearing a new piece of cloth every day. It's so nice. You're always looking so neat and clean with your tilak. Purushottama, what do you think? Who do you think has the best tilak?" Purushottama didn't answer. "Beautiful tilak," Prabhupada said, means beautiful person. About 6 o'clock the same evening, Yamuna was cooking puris and potatoes for Prabhupada when she heard him ring the servant's bell. Leaving the ghee on the fire, she ran up to Prabhupada's quarters. He talked with her about the lecture he would give that evening and eventually asked, "When will prasadam be ready?" Before the discourse. "Yes, Srila Prabhupada." Yamuna smells smoke. "Oh," she gasped, "please excuse me, Prabhupada, I've left some ghee on the fire." Rushing downstairs, she found the kitchen filled with black smoke. She couldn't see the stove. "Purushottama, Purushottama," she cried. Purushottama arrived, and together they groped through the smoke. Somehow Purushottama extinguished the fire because it caused serious damage. Purushottama and Yamuna were covered in soot. Their faces were black, and Prabhupada's orange sweater, his robes, and Purushottama's orange sweater, his robes, and Yamuna's sari were all blackened. Suddenly Prabhupada rang the servant's bell, and they both hurried upstairs to tell him about the fire. When Janaki returned downstairs and saw the mess, she ran upstairs to Prabhupada's room, where Yamuna and Purushottama were, still covered with soot before Prabhupada. "What has happened here?" Janaki burst out. Prabhupada looked at her soberly and said, "Today Purushottama has gone to the moon." "What?" Janaki asked. Prabhupada repeated, "Yes, our Purushottama has gone to the moon." "Prabhupada," Purushottama said, "I am a brahmachari. Why are you saying these things? Being a brahmachari is no restriction from going to the moon. Anyone can go," Prabhupada said, winking. So these are wonderful pastimes of Prabhupada, and these devotees were very, very fortunate to have such intimate contact with Prabhupada. And we are very fortunate that they are sharing these pastimes with us. We'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Anyone like to add on? Okay. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.